I ask for the truth on behalf of Shane Mcdonagh concerning financial issues. Well, he'll be coming into money very soon, as it looks as though he's just having a few problems at the moment, as you would say, to use an understatement of the year. I ask for guidance and insight in the name of truth, right conduct, peace, love and non-violence. Blessed be to the crow, the carrier of souls, from darkness into light. And we just got the tarot for you there, the crow's magic tarot, and just place things to the side here. I'll deal out 3 cards, past, present and future. As is usual, the trend, the first card represents the recent past, a period of time between now and this time last month, roughly that sort of time period. The next, of course, is now, the present, and then of course the future. In this particular case, as we know, it's the immediate future, isn't it? So we just pop that there. So we've got the recent past influence, the present influence and the immediate future influence. So let's examine these cards and seek the truth about what's going on here. The first card, of course, the first energy that vibrates with the recent past, well, I suppose establish the situation, won't it? It'll help just tell us what has recently been vibrating, what energy's been vibrating there. I don't know how long you've been having the financial difficulties, but of course we don't give financial advice because we're not financial advisors, but certainly spirit here indicating there the magician, just indicating that there's been a bit of sorcery, a bit of alchemy going on over the past 3 or 4 weeks or so. That can notice there the magician is a major arcana card, isn't it? And the major arcana energies don't really give you much opportunity to, well, don't give you any opportunity to change anything, in the sense that they're fixed, permanent, but they are a major part of what's going on. So you could say just recently the one of the most major, we don't know what these other 2 are, but certainly one of the most major parts of this event that you're in has recently taken place. The magician, of course, is the witch at the altar with all the elements, control over all the elements of air, fire, water and earth. And of course the element of spirit being the invisible, or the lamp as is often referred to, the 5th element. Once you see that, then you're there, as you suppose. But it's indicating control, of course, and the fact that you've been trying to get some sort of control over it. Often with the magician, you get the symbol of infinity above the magician's head, which is of course that 5th element. That sort of connection with the supernatural. In this particular case, of course, it indicates sorcery, of course, some sort of magic going on, and that may be magic in the sense of real magic with the real world. I get a sort of sense he's more like forces beyond your control, spirit, sort of forces beyond your control, spirit intervening in some way. But with it being a major arcana energy, of course, you had no power to change it. You still had choices on how you handle how you handle it, how you deal with it. But of course, nevertheless, with it being the magician, of course, it can symbolise that you've been establishing control of the situation. Nevertheless, it can symbolise balance and the fact that you've had some sort of control over it. Although you haven't had power to change it, you've never been able to keep things balanced. You've been able to maintain the status quo, as you, I suppose, to use a figure of speech, which I suppose to some degree, yes. Notice that the eagle, of course, that connection with spirit, isn't it? And that sort of listening to your higher self, to the inner voice. And that connection with that, of course, helping you to, I suppose, work with more magic, the magic within, the intuition within, isn't it? And it's that's helped maintain things, and maybe that's the sorcery, isn't it? Let's just see, though, what is going on now, where this is all ended up. Is this the result of... notice here the, as you can see, wands, which symbolises fire. The 9 of wands, of course. Leo, again, energy of Leo. Sort of control. I don't know if you can just see that there, the Leo. And that indicates, again, establishing control, but this time you do have power to change it, in the sense this is a minor arcana energy, minor arcana card. The 9, of course, is the peak of magic. Wands is fire, so it's spiritual essence. So I suppose you could, of course, any number between 4 and 9, the numbers 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9, they're to do with the element of water. So you could say the watery part of fire. Often the 9 of wands, I suppose, is referred to as a peak of energy, isn't it? In that regard. This tends to focus, although the 9 of wands itself, Crowley refers to the 9 of wands as the Lord of Strength, and although, nevertheless, this particular, the author of this deck, the High Priestess Londa Marks, refers to it as more to do with being dazed and confused. Regardless of strength, there is a weakness attached to that, as if it's made you stronger, but nevertheless you have your weaknesses because you had no power over whatever it was that brought you to this point in your life right now. But nevertheless it is making you stronger in some regard, but confused. Notice the mist, the sort of orange, yellowish orange mist, maybe of the gut chakra or the sacral chakra there or whatever. And that's, you're feeling it within your gut, you're feeling it there, you know, in your gut. It sort of hits you there. What do I do now? I didn't expect this. And I suppose the Leo is trying to establish, get control. You had control in the sense spirit was controlling you, helping you, not controlling. Spirit was helping you to control. Crow sent the eagle to help you connect with that higher self. Crow is king in this deck, and then of course, as we can see here, the lion symbolises courage, so it's a case of asking for what you want right now, and ask and it shall be given you. Crow will send whatever it is you ask for to carry you from the darkness into the light. But do you get carried into the light, or what happens from now, between now and this time next month? I suppose between now and the 20th of April, just to give it a figure. Of course, it's a bit of a dark art because it's not really exactly that, but it's that sort of thing, isn't it? Here, notice you've got the 2 of wands, more fire. Crowley calls the Two of Wands the Lord of Dominion. This tends to focus on Aries, more fiery sort of energy there. Again, control, again, establishing control, keeping a balance of things, I suppose, but like how a ram stands on a precarious sort of landscape. Nevertheless, it sort of indicates that sort of bold approach, literally in that sense. Just really being bold and showing some initiative, some enterprise. Maybe, of course, it's time to I suppose, be a bit entrepreneurial in some regards or other. Not try and sell sand to the Arabs or anything like that, but certainly maybe this is where we've been going wrong just for a bit, and relied on others too much, and it's time to branch out and just have a bit of balls, basically, just to say what it is you want, and of course right now say what it is you want, but of course there is the confusion, but nevertheless maybe in strength you are in weakness, surrounded by the darkness there, but nevertheless the Lord of Dominion will say that you will get a grip of it. I suppose that's what it is, the get a grip card, isn't it, in that sense, that you will fight again between now and this time next month, and maybe I wonder what Raven has to say about that, in the sense of what power animals may show themselves. I want to just out of curiosity more than anything, which killed the cat, of course, but I want to just shuffle these cards here and just ask for some guidance for Shane and about this situation here, and we'll just ask for some advice. I'm asking in the name of truth, right conduct, peace, love and non-violence. Blessed be to Raven and all the power animal spirits who guide, heal and protect. And I just want to, we just want to just I suppose, just see what this is all about. I suppose really with the kangaroo, the energy of kangaroo, gratitude, I suppose just be grateful really, that be grateful for all you're blessed with, regardless of what's been going on. I suppose nevertheless, really it could have been worse. Spirit is saying, kangaroo is saying, like he's just saying, Raven comes and says that it could have been bloody worse. So just be grateful that it wasn't as bad as it could have been. And you know that, you know how bad it could have been. Yes, we all having problems, we all have problems now and again. Sometimes they're self-inflicted, in the sense we're the authors of our own misfortune, but other times, yes, others do things to us, and we just haven't got enough at the right time to pay up or whatever. But regardless of that, the energy of Dolphin there, yes, playfulness, take time to play, take time to enjoy yourself. You shouldn't really, I suppose, it's sort of saying really that, Spirit is just saying really that don't let it get at you, just be grateful that it wasn't as bad as all that, and just take some time to at least go out, maybe for a drink with your friends or whatever, not to sort of indulge in anything or revel in indulgence or anything like that, or take your eye off the ball by taking up some sort of beverage or turning to drink or something like that, or some other substance, but substance dependency. But nevertheless, just take some time out to just enjoy yourself. Take time to play. Take in that sense. It is a game at the end of the day. It's just the fact at the moment you're not winning. but it doesn't mean it's still not a game. You can still take time to just enjoy yourself every now and again in the interim. That's what it seems to be implying, because owl, there, notice the owl symbolises, of course, your ancestral spirit guides, and they are just saying just to pay attention to signs and omens, whatever goes on, or whatever's happening right now. It's really your ancestors talking to you from the past, in the sense it happened to them, and whatever they did whatever's happening now is a spin-off from what they did. So, you know, I always say it's a bit like the wheel that was invented, although it was a tree trunk back then, when we were in caves, of course. It's probably now a bit of rubber and a hubcap and all that sort of thing now, but in essence it's the same thing. And this is a sort of thing here, although the owl is in the darkness there, of course, nevertheless your ancestral spirit guide speaks from the darkness of uncertainty, and do sort of of course, twilight is often referred to as owl light. It's when the owl has an advantage to hunt and other animals can't find food or whatever, because it's that sort of eventide sort of time between day and night, or either that or night and day, according to which is dawn or dusk. But either way, that sort of time is called owl light, and the twilight of what's going on. Pay attention to what's going on in the shadows, what's going on in the twilight, what's happening in owl light, in the sense of things that you wouldn't normally pay attention to. Just pay attention to detail and what's happening, not just the obvious of what's happening, but what's happening behind the scenes. What happened after that happened, or before it happened, or what else was happening as well as. Because the little things that are happening are propping up the big things. And this is what your ancestral spirit guides are saying. Listen to that. But pay attention to what's going on. And if you hear an owl hoot, maybe that's just your ancestral spirit guide saying pay attention to signs, pay attention to the omens, pay attention to what's going on. It doesn't mean you can't enjoy yourself, you can't still not live it up as you would without a worry, but it doesn't mean in the interim just be grateful that you hadn't been worse. Take a bit of time out to just relax and regroup, and nevertheless, whilst you're regrouping, of course, that's the confusion, where the confusion sets in. Of course, the balance, the fact that you managed to maintain things, spirit maintained it for you, crow was there helping you maintain, the eagle was there, you're listening to your higher self, I suppose, and just be grateful for that. And nevertheless, of course, nevertheless, although there is the confusion now there, of course, although you may be a bit dangerous and confused, the strength in that is the fact that you can just take a bit of time out to play, take a bit of time out to enjoy yourself. You're not completely without, even if you're without money, you've still got your imagination that you can fall back on. But pay attention to signs and omens, and this is where the enterprising and the enterprising initiative comes in. That's where the dominion, where you manage to gain control of things again, where Aries manages to keep you balanced and regain control. It's about regaining control, and pay attention to what's going on around you. Your ancestral spirit guides have spoken, and the crow has spoken. So blessed be, as we now cast a shadow. So these cards have spoken.